Good morning. This is Devin with Homeschool House Calls. We are live streaming into professional home educator and homeschooling supermoms. And we are here today with some veteran homeschool moms. So the question is, what do you do when the kids graduate? Because, have you ever wondered what happens after all the kids have graduated and you're no longer a teacher? And mom, and well, you're still mom, you're always mom, and really you're always the teacher because they are always learning. I mean, my dad was showing me how to work a teleprompter. He's very techy and has videos and does his own stuff, and he was showing me this morning a new app he has that does teleprompting. So he was talking all about it. So parents always teach, so you're not really ever retired. But what do veteran homeschool moms do when they graduate that last child? I'm trying to get the word out. So we have with us today Lesa Dale from LifeWalk, GPS, and Stephanie Williams, who is an author, and Susan, who is your admin in both of our groups and
Yes.
has graduated her baby.
Yes.
Georgia will be coming in a few minutes. She's running late. So, but that's Georgia. We love Georgia, but I know Georgia. I love her. I don't get to do as much with her now that she's graduated her babies. So what do you do? How do y'all feel? I know some of y'all got a couple of years, and some of y'all are new to graduating the baby. So how do y'all feel? How does it feel now that you've got them out of that? Is it hard to break that change in your brain?
That's a great question. Lisa, go first. I see you're ready to
You got
ask.
more
So.
I
years.
was preparing for it like a year or so before. When Kenny was getting entered high school is whenever I started doing the research for the Discerning My Calling class that I started,
Mhm.
that LifeWalk started out with. So the fact that he decided he was graduating early and I only did 3 years, I mean, it came a year earlier than I had planned, but
They did. I like to switch things up on us sometimes, don't they?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were preparing a couple of years ahead.
Yeah, I started preparing a couple of years ahead also, just because a lot of my products are homeschool related. So obviously it was applicable to what I was doing. The one thing that's so funny is, and I'm really curious for Lisa and Stephanie, I thought my house would be a lot quieter than what it is, and that my life might be a little calmer. But that's not what happened, and I'm so grateful for that because I wasn't ready for the quiet. I'm really fortunate that Caitlin is living at home for her first 2 years of college, so we still have that hustle and bustle going on. But it's so funny, the hustle and bustle of just in my own personal life is still there and still going. And so anyway, so yeah, so still a busy thing. So Stephanie, how about you?
Well, I have a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old, so I was so thankful to have our 18-year-old because I wasn't ready to have an empty nest. So the two left, and Mary Bruce will now leave in the fall. So I had started writing this last year, and it's just been so healthy for me because I've been able to write about our 18-year homeschool journey. And so I have that I'm involved with that. That's been great. And I'm also a homeschool tutor. So, I'm still going to be able to do some homeschool things, and I want to get involved in groups and encourage other moms. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing because it's a huge change. I mean, you've
It is.
homeschooled for all these years and all of a sudden, wow, I'm not going to this fall. So.
And that's one thing that I appreciate is that I see the three of y'all still given to the homeschool community. It's like you didn't run for the door when the last one graduated. Your skills given to the community, and that's needed. The
I
new homeschool mom is needed.
Need
think
encouragement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think when you become a homeschooler, your heart goes towards homeschooling, and you can so relate to those feelings and emotions that homeschooling parents go through. There's those moments of excitement, and you see your child's light bulb go off that they're learning, and then there's also those moments where you have self doubt. Am I doing enough? Um, is my child learning? You go through all those emotions. So I think you can so appreciate and value what they're going through, and your heart goes out to them and you want to support them.
That's awesome.
Exactly. You want to say, you can do this. You can do this. And there's so many blessings in this.
If I could do it, you can.
That's right. We all do it. You can do it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I think when people first dive into homeschooling, I think there is this, can I do it? What do I need to do? And will I be enough? And this and that. And I think that reassurance, at least for the four of us in this workshop right now, and Georgia, when she joins us, you want to give that reassurance, and yes, you can do this. And we all experience that. I know that Devin and I do lives on a regular basis, and people often ask us, well, you guys have been doing it for so long, and you know what you're doing, and you were so confident going in, and this and that. And it's like, oh, whoa. No, Devin and I experienced self-doubt. I'm curious, for Lesa and Stephanie to talk about that.
Yeah, I still experience self-doubt. I mean, it's like you'll hit a new bump and you're like, oh my gosh, did I do this right? Have I done this right? Am I, even I've homeschooled 17 years, and with each kid that starts high school, I still go, did I do it right? Like right now I have one that just graduated, and she's doing the ACT and, applying to college. And I'm like, oh gosh, have I made it where, and I have another one who's already graduated in college. So it's like, even though I have one there, it's like, you always doubt. Mamas are good about that.
Yeah. You always have a few moments of that.
But the thing is I love about veteran homeschool moms is they can give confidence, even when they're honest about having the doubt, that they can say, you can do this and get, I've graduated 2, got 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, then the first grader. That is she's going to be my run for the money girl. Her and her older sister, the middle schooler, those two are going to be the ones that's going to finish my gray hair.
So on that note of inspiration and motivation, Stephanie, this is probably a great time for you to kind of mention about your book, and because I think it's really cool that you've written a book about your homeschooling experience, and about your book. So you want to share a little bit about that?
I will. I'm going to show it. It's Ooh You Homeschool, Help for Successful Homeschooling. And in the book, it's a funny story about the title, so you can read about that. But I have written it solely to praise God for getting us to this point, and to encourage other mamas. And it does tell our journey, but it shares with beginners exactly step by step what to do, researching and the different curriculum and the different type of learner that your child is, to reach out to other groups. It's so important to reach out. I talk about that. And so I go through all of those, hopefully helps for newbies, and also for any homeschool mom. It's just encouragement for any. And I've had a lot of feedback. It came out, it was published on March 4th. And it's been so cool to hear from people from all over, and to hear their comments about it. So, and it's been from, people who have just started to people who have been homeschooling for years. So I hope that it encourages everyone who reads it.
That's good.
That's awesome. Because I know that we all need those books of encouragement, workshops and lives of encouragement, all different kinds of things, posts and things like that. So I think it's wonderful that you've written a book. And Stephanie, because we have people watching, and we'll also be watching the recording, how do people go about getting your book?
Okay, it is available through Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Target, and it's ebook and paperback.
Awesome.
So they can order that, and they can. I don't have Instagram, but I have Facebook, and I have a Stephanie Williams author Facebook, and I do a lot of writing on there. I try to write, encouraging posts, and it gives the information. It gives the link to order that book.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And I'd love to hear from anyone who reads it. I love to have those private messages and respond. It's wonderful. So.
That's good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Lesa, you got something exciting coming up, don't you?
I know she's got something exciting coming up, but I was going to say, for those who don't know, Lisa's my business coach. So I'm the mom that's still homeschooling, that's starting to take steps looking forward. Obviously, we got the group. We do lots of stuff on YouTube and the workshops. Homeschooling. My T-shirt says "Homeschooling's my jam," but Lisa's my business coach. We've known each other way back, and she's always been in business and been awesome. But she's got some new stuff coming up, and she's fabulous. I mean, I couldn't do half of what I do without her. And it's kind of like, between them, they keep me going.
And Devin was my homeschool coach, so.
Isn't it funny?
Reciprocating opportunities, right?
Exactly right.
I started homeschooling probably the year before she did, but I completely isolated myself and did no research. I just kind of jumped in. So the second year I started homeschooling, I was trying to figure out, I'm going, okay, so we isolated ourselves that last year. I got to do something. So I joined her original part day that she had.
Yeah, I had a group called Mobile Homeschool. What did I call it? Playgroup. Mobile Homeschool Playgroup?
Something like that.
Something like that. That was the original name, and it ended up with like 50 families. People thought I was an expert, and I'd homeschooled like none. My youngest was not even old enough to register with the state yet. That is where I started 17 years ago.
That's a long-standing friendship you guys have.
Yeah.
Her oldest and my youngest are the same age.
Yeah.
So I was figuring it out, and she was a little bit ahead of me because she had done the research. And, between her and Melissa Mayo, at the end of that year when we did those SATs is when I'm going, oh, wait a minute, there's all this other stuff. So yeah, Devin was like a homeschool coach for me. So I am her business coach. I started, I wanted to do online business whenever my youngest one was little because I wanted to be able to stay at home. And I got into the business world, and I kind of just jumped from thing to thing, did VA work. I trained as a Christian life coach. I did website design. I just did all kinds of stuff and was bored out of my mind with all of it. So Kenny's freshman year of high school, I started the Discerning My Calling research, which is a course to help kids figure out what they want to do with life. And then that developed and evolved into I do both life and business coaching from a Christian perspective. I have a free masterclass coming up next week. That is, I don't even know if you can find that on my website, but it is on Facebook. So it's God Design Business with LifeWalk GPS God Design Business. And
we can put the link under the video after we finish, so people can find it because it's free.
Yes, it's a 5-day free workshop.
2 or 3 times. It's wonderful.
So on that note, if there's a mompreneur out there, right, that's needing some inspiration and some information, this might be a great opportunity for you to check that out. Getting Lesa to support you.
Yeah. Anyone who is starting, or even if you've already started but not really going yet, that need to start making money.
Yeah. And one thing I love, Lesa, you didn't say this, but Lesa was a single working mom that made it work. I mean, way back in the day when people would tell you that, oh no, a working mom can't homeschool. Oh no, Lesa did it fabulously, and
I did it.
She did it, and she may not think she was fabulous at it, but she was and is So I highly recommend, even if you don't know that you want to start a business, connecting with Lesa. She can maybe help you move from it into your own business if you want to do that.
Well, there's also, just the Christian Life group. So, and that was just Life Walk GPS.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, Georgia.
Hey, Georgia.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi.
It's been a long time since I've
Am I
talked to you.
unmuted?
You're unmuted.
I'm so used to being on Zoom. How are you?
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just chugging along,
Well, we're talking about what veteran homeschool moms do after they graduate that last baby.
Yes. My baby is turning 20 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Crazy.
You're a child.
That feels so crazy. He's the baby.
Mine did in April.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So, yeah.
It was amazing. So tell us a little bit what you do. What are you doing since he graduated? It's been about 2 years, right?
Yeah. He, oh goodness. So me, I've been on a journey for about 4 years. I was inspired, well, it was probably back in 2017. I'm kind of in a strange way, I love sci-fi. I love futuristic type of things. So I saw what was kind of coming down the pike with, and even, I'm sure people were online way earlier, but it was just, even for educating our kids, I was like, and I think what it was is I saw how fast it was happening. It was happening at lightning speed. It was like, and when you look back in history, the changes in the way, you've got the industrial age into the information age, the changes, there's always like time, where things change over time. And with the information age or the tech age, oh no, things happen in a month, in 2 months. And then of course, this past year gave us a violent shove, super fast into how comfortable, you've got people teaching on Zoom now, and it's just really amazing, the lightning speed, how fast things are happening. So when I saw, okay, this isn't just happening, it's happening super fast, like it just progresses each day. And I felt inspired. I was like, wow, I hope homeschoolers can keep up with this speed and start to help their kids learn more marketing online and these kinds of things, because, we know how creative we can be online. You know what I mean? You know how it is. You can teach anything and everything, and now online, and our kids are going to be, faced with that as well. But anyhow, so I kind of I was trying to find my own way, so to speak. I was trying different things, just like our kids have to, and experiment and go, okay, who am I? And, so that's probably, I would say, one of the things that can happen is, and you may not want to wait until that last one is graduated. Yeah. You don't have time. It's like, it just keeps changing, going faster and faster. So you want to go ahead and start putting your toes in the water, and you want to start to try things, Lesa's, these different challenges are great, boot camps, challenges, a lot of them are free, and you can just try things out, and you're looking for, who you are, and really what lights you up, what you love to do, and I tried. Yeah. I tried, writing at first, and it was okay. I was like, all right, I did that. Threw up a book about trying to kind of be the awareness of helping your kids get online and start to think about these things and try things out and learn about the online space as far as business. But then I kind of was trying to feel out, and finally I ran into a gal online and decided to learn about coaching. So and at that time I was really, I had a chronic illness for like 10 or 15 years, a long time. And at the time I was really sick. It took out my driving. I couldn't drive, you know? So I was stuck at home, and I was also in a bad marriage. I was really for a long time. And so I had, I was in a situation, I had no money, and so I was doing this thing over back here on the side that I didn't think mattered. And what I did is I had a friend that came in, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. She taught me how to, Craigslist was big then. And so she helped me find junk around my house and put it on Craigslist. I had two old dressers, and the 2 dressers I had sold immediately. And they were the only things that sold. So that was interesting to me. And it just, it happened that the next day I was in a Salvation Army, saw another dresser, and we had a few knobs and things. It wasn't like a big deal. And I got that $15 at the time, sold it the next day for $100. So, and I could have sold it for more, and I didn't realize it. But in any case, so I started flipping dressers to pay for my coach, to learn how to be a coach. So then I eventually, that took me a year or two, but I figured out in the midst of the being sick, I learned about a program called Wake Up Productive, and it helped me be sick and get things done at the same time. It was really cool. So then I got to thinking, for homeschool moms, and even teaching their kids how to be productive would have been amazing. So I started trying to teach that, and I taught a couple groups of moms. As I learned how to coach, I started teaching them this Wake Up Productive program. And so, all of that worked into, I eventually became a certified coach, but I was using my dresser flipping money to pay for these things. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so eventually what happened is I tried some Facebook groups, different things. I couldn't quite, I knew one thing. I knew that I loved coaching. I found that out. I was like, that I discovered lit me up, so that's kind of the thing with moms is you may stumble along for a while and you're trying, it's just like our kids. It's kind of like that when they get out and they're trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Where's my thing? It's kind of the same way it can be for us. But you will bump into things eventually that you can tell, oh my gosh, I love this, and, but eventually what I did is the thing with the dresser flipping. So we land at the dresser flipping. That's where I finally landed, because it was funny. About a year and a half ago now, I was just doing my thing, was in a big Facebook group. It was called Grown and Flown. Have you guys heard of this big parent group? It's Grown and Flown Parents, and it's just as it sounds, where it's a secular group, but they, I think there's 200,000 people, and their kids have reached a certain age, and they're going off to college, that kind of thing, Grown and Flown. And so I was just in there, and a lady said, does anybody know how to make extra couple $100 a month? I want to pay for this thing for my kids' college, or something. And it's a monthly bill of $couple $100, and she goes, I don't want to sell, I don't want to be in a direct sales. I don't want to do any of that. So I, not imagining at all that she would, I didn't think anybody would care, but I just said, I do this thing where I find dressers, I buy them for $20 or 30 or 40, and I only spend an hour or two. I don't do any sanding or painting. I'm not a refinisher. And I turn around, sell them for $150, $250, And I had literally 100 comments. I thought the admin was going to get mad at me. 100 comments that came through. I was just like, no way. Like they wanted to know how to do this. And so I just said, maybe I should start a group. So they're like, yeah, start a group. So I go upstairs and I'm like, what am I calling this? And dresser fixer upper just came into my head. So I just and it started, and it was slow at first, because I was totally ignoring it. I was going, no, I'm supposed to be over here. I'm supposed to do this, aren't I? And it just slowly was growing. And then when the lockdowns happened, it just started growing, like 20 people a day.
Yeah.
And at that point, I found, I'll finish up with this, Devin. At that point, I found,
No, it's interesting.
I don't want to go on too long, but at that point, I found, I found a gal online who she is was I should say, a nuclear engineer for NASA down in Texas. Okay, and she had 2 baby boys, and they when one of those babies called her nanny mama, she said, I'm leaving my nuclear engineer career. She could not, she came home. She came home and she said, okay, I'm a nuclear engineer. I could do this online business thing. No problem. And she said she struggled for 2 years, and it was the hardest thing she ever did. I was like, makes me feel better. I was like, wow. But now she has a whole school called Funnel Boss Academy. And I was following her for probably a year, going through her different challenges. And I just liked her. I liked that she was very logical, had processes and systems, and really did. So I finally joined big investment, but I knew, because my group had been growing, and honestly, I had grown other Facebook groups, a little bit, but not like this one, but I'd grown, and I didn't want to grow, and I don't know how to say this without sounding bad, but I didn't want to grow a support group. I actually wanted to grow a group that I could help these people through a program. I could help, I could have those different stages where they come in. I do help them. I do give them lots of free content. I do Flippin' Fridays every Friday. We do lots of fun stuff, but I also wanted to have that other part where I had a program for people that they could come in, and because, when there is something too, when you put the money down, you're going to be invested. That, it's time for me to learn. It's time for me to move forward. Let's do this, So I got into Funnel Boss Academy in April or March, I believe. And I'm just started learning, but it's a whole year that I'll be in that. And I'm learning all of the steps. And the thing that I like the most about what Melissa teaches is she's helping you build what's called a business asset, where it's something that it takes some time to build, but it's sustainable and it grows. So it's not just a flash in the pan, because I had that happen. I would run a group and make a little bit of money, but then I didn't have the other pieces and parts to really have that whole model growing, and building, So when I saw how Dresser Fixer Upper was growing, and I knew I had to make a move, and because I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to grow this group where people just think it's a fun, artsy group. I mean, I want it to be fun, but just artsy and supportive, and that's it. And they just kind of sit like bumps on. I want people going through Dresser Side Gig Academy. And I've had people in my group. I had a mom. This was so great. She was a single mom. I think she's from Canada. But she took some of my ideas of the quick fix. I do quick cosmetic fixes. But she put her own spin on it, where she does painting, but she puts this like decoupage or something on the dressers. They're really cool. But she made like $1,000. She paid her mortgage that month, flipping these dressers. So, and I've had many people making money flipping dressers, So there's furniture flippers out there, but I really just stick to dressers because they're such a functional piece of furniture and they sell well, and I just have fun with it. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Just get out there, start stumbling around. Don't get discouraged if you try things
and find what lights you up.
You're just on your way to find your thing. And I never, never would have imagined the dresser flipping would be anything, you know? I just, it's funny.
I want to kind of talk about that a little bit, Georgia. You were talking about getting out there and finding what lights you up. My program, a lot of what we do is actually go through how God created you to find what lights you up to start with.
Yes.
So before you have to go out there and do all the stumbling and trying all the different things, which is what I did as well. I jumped from one thing to the other, and I know now why I jumped. Because all the things that I was trying to do were part of my burnout skills.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So, and another thing, you know, you're talking about finding Melissa and paying that price when it's not just the investment to learn. If you have the guidance, you learn quicker.
Yes.
So you don't have to do all the bumbling. So yeah, it goes back to, you know, it takes money to make money.
Yeah, I mean, investing, whether it's, and you know, a real quick note on that is something going through this process, the faster you learn and you're going through a program like this, becoming, I should say, an entrepreneur is like one of the toughest things because it brings up all of these things on the inside of you that you just did not, all the fears, insecurities, all these, whatever they are. And one of my biggest things that I am just now even working through that I would suspect this could be a struggle with a lot of homeschool moms, because a lot of them are on one income, you know, or, you know, there's quite a big, you know, because they're home, they're teaching. But one of the biggest struggles I had was money mindset. And also coming from a Christian perspective, I had a lot of bad doctrine or understanding around it. Because when you really start looking at the Bible and the scriptures about money, you know, for some reason, well, you know, and the monks do it in different religions, right? Anything that has to do with getting too much into the material world, you can't really be spiritual. You know, it's even in other religions, you know, that you get this idea, but I'm really growing like crazy from the inside out, having to deal with some of that. And I read a book just recently that's not a Christian book, but it's one of those books that you're like, if this guy was a Christian, this book would be awesome. And it's called Happy Money. And I just read it and it just turned my world around. It's called Happy Money, the Japanese Art of Making Peace with Your Money. But the reason I liked it so much is he really goes into like psychological and even sociology of like why mankind even uses money and what it's for and why we've gotten so attached to it or fear and all these kinds of things. And it just, just to use, for lack of a better word, it really ministered to me in a way because I didn't realize how much, and this goes back to my marriage too. You know, the money part was a place of abuse in that way. And so I had a lot of baggage from that. But yeah, it's something I feel what you're saying, that we have to come to terms with stuff that we don't even realize it's on the inside of us, you know, and work through. But the happy money part, that the theme of this book that I appreciated so much, even though it wasn't a Christian book, is giving. You know, the way you have happy money in your life is by first being thankful. You know, be thankful for all things, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Be thankful. And, you know, and then also giving were the two big themes of how he's created this. But it was great. But that's been a huge place of work that I've had to do in my life to, you know, move forward.
My masterclass, the second day, deals with the abundance mindset. You know, Margaret Thatcher has a quote that says, "Nobody would remember the Good Samaritan if he hadn't been rich."
Oh, wow. It took money. That was happy money.
Exactly. And there's a book by, his name is Jim Baker. It's called When Heaven Invades Your Finances.
Yeah.
Now, he's a pastor in Ohio, and I can't remember the name of his church right off the bat, but he has a program called Wealth with God.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this, when I found that book, my word for the year was faith. And there was this one line in that book that said, finances are the kindergarten of faith.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going,
yeah.
oh, I'm going back to kindergarten.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, the money mindset is something, but, you know, one of the biggest things is people think, you know, Jesus was poor because there's one place in the Bible where he was poor, and that was on the cross.
Yeah.
That's where he was sick. That's where he was poor. That's where he was a sinner. It's the only place in the Bible that he was those things. He had a treasurer. You don't run around with a treasurer if you don't have something for him to keep.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Because they were traveling, and yeah.
And when the wise men came, they didn't just three of them come and bring these little boxes. They had a caravan that brought, you know, big trunks of the frankincense and myrrh and the gold.
Right.
So,
right.
yes, when Jesus was first born and they gave their first sacrifice for him, they gave the poor one of the turtle doves.
Mm-hmm.
But that was before the wise men came.
Huh. Wow. Interesting. Susan, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah. So mamas that are watching this, we want you to know that when homeschooling ends, you still have so much. You have so much in front of you. There are so many different opportunities that you can do. You can start all kinds of businesses, as you've seen here. You know, Stephanie's an author. Lesa is a business coach. Georgia has 2 avenues that she's doing, coaching as well as the flipping dressers and things like that. And so there's so many different avenues that you can take. So explore those options, because life does change a little bit, but you're still busy and you're still going to be doing some really awesome work as you journey past the homeschooling years.
That's right.
Yeah. Life doesn't end when the last one graduates.
Not at all. Well, then there's
same thing with your marriage. You have to make sure that you're going to be happy with him when the kids are gone.
Yes.
Oh my. There's so much into that too. I mean, you know, there's so many areas I've learned that, you know, in the marriage space even, it's sad that a lot of times homeschooling and even in the Christian area, a lot of us can suffer silently. You know, we don't realize that, you know, I can just say this quickly, if there's any moms out there that this is what you're going through. I waited 26 years to try to fix this, and I actually didn't start it. It was some outside circumstance that just brought it all to a head, and you had to deal with it, you know. But don't wait. I was counseled over and over. You know, 1 Peter 3 was my creed. You know, to without a word, just win your husband over by your conduct. Well, I did that for over 2 decades. Okay, it's a long time. And all I'm trying to say is, it's not that you don't follow the scripture at all. It's just, I think sometimes there's a season, because what I learned out of that is if you let that go on and on and on and just put your head down and keep going, what happens is your relationship is over here disintegrating. The trust relationship becomes obliterated. And what can happen is there won't be anything left for you to build if you don't step up and take some action. I mean, maybe you go 10 years in 1 Peter 3, maybe it's been 15, but there comes a time that you've got to step up, because if you don't, I wish I would have had a Christian counselor say to me, you've got to step up, you have to be brave, you have to do something, because that's saving your marriage. That's saving your relationship. That's making a difference so that you can stop doing this and go over here and build. Make, you know, don't just, you know, and I just say anybody, you know, I kind of wish I would have, I don't know. I went through what I did because I did, but I have to be honest. I see it all the time in either homeschool communities, Christian communities, women just like me, that they're just barreling through, pushing as hard as they can, doing, you know, we're women, man. We keep at it, buddy. We're going to charge and we're going to keep going. And sometimes you've got to be weak enough. I know that sounds funny, but you've got to be weak to where you call out and say, okay, I'm hurting. Okay, something needs to change. Okay, we've got to do something. I think there's a place where you can be too strong because it's in your own strength. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can just keep going. But I don't know if that will help anybody out there, because that was me for many years, you know. I'm still in that marriage and great things are happening. So I have to say that. It's a 180 and it's great, you know, but my eyes are open now, but I know it can be a hard thing for a lot of women.
So to bring it all back for homeschooling, mamas, don't wait until they've graduated to find what lights you up. But even if you do, even if they've already graduated, you can still find that. Lesa has a business coaching masterclass starting this week. We'll put the link in the bottom. So if you want to explore that way, she's awesome. I can tell you from experience, she is awesome. And I agree with Georgia. If you have issues going on in your house, whether it's your husband or something else, don't wait until it's too late to try to fix it. Don't be afraid.
Yes.
Susan got her boot camp calls starting this week. Don't miss out on that. Lisa's got her master class. You have time. It's summer. You have time to enjoy both. Like, you have time to watch both. I'm just saying. I do this all the time. I love master classes. And I thought it was funny that Georgia talked about her program she's been in, and most of us sitting here knew it was Melissa. And she didn't even say, because I love Melissa. I love watching her.
Oh man, it's awesome. I just have to say, it's been
I love watching her lives. She's amazing how much she's accomplished. Stephanie has a wonderful book out, and I know she probably has more about graduating these kids. But we appreciate when mamas have these books to help our new babies, our new mamas. It is important.
And my youngest has written a chapter in the book. So chapter 8 is a homeschool. It's a homeschool senior's perspective. So that's been really cool for people to see it, to see that insight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I like
fun.
how you included your family in that. That's awesome.
I'm glad that she was
I love that.
It is.
Okay, mamas, we're going to wrap it up. I have had an enjoyable Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning.
Morning.
When I come to my mama's house, we'll wake up like at the crack of dawn when the sun's coming up, so I feel like it's afternoon.
Hey, Devin, do you want me to drop a link for the
drop a
group?
link.
Okay.
Are you in Susan's group too? I think you are.
I think I am. Yeah.
Yeah, drop a link below, and Stephanie, you can drop a link below for your stuff, and Lesa, y'all put your stuff under the thing so people can find y'all. And y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Mama.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
It was great.
Thank you.